Alright, part 2 of the book, of the 5-part book. What is below? So far, we have used the following logic to decode the text. Test the unity assumption by matching major idea strands in the pyramid text and coffin text. The result: Old Kingdom pyramid and Middle Kingdom coffin texts are unified in key themes, and decode interrelated signs in the text to define a model of the duat. Result: the model of the Egyptian duat is our Earth system. This model matches textual description and decodes interrelated signs. On the quantum level, the Earth is a spinning vortex similar to a Kerr black hole. The duat is also similar to a Kerr black hole, a claim the text supports by references to inner horizons, holes, circles, and virtual particle pairs, deceased and his double. All right. Chapter 4. A quantum leap into an afterlife cloning experiment. In the sun god's ferry boat, is the sun god's ferry boat a bacteriophage vector? Some of the same processing occurs in the Earth's magnetosphere are mirrored at the quantum level of a cell. For instance, a magnetic reconnection in the Earth's magnetosphere is similar to a DNA recombination in the cell. The anti-parallel northward and southward IMFs match the anti-parallel directions of DNA. Ions on magnetic field lines are frozen in place like nucleides on the DNA strands. Movements of the northward and southward IMF pushing out a plasmoid in the Earth's magnetotail imitate a bacterial cell kicking out a plasmid during binary fission. Perhaps space physicists should talk with geneticists and biologists to compare their knowledge base, for it seems very possible that the pharaohs were using the macrocosm to explain similar events in the microcosmic cell. Our next objective centers on these similarities. Objective 2. Do the operations of the solar wind and the Earth above mirror events on the cellular level below? Binary fission in bacteria. In 1963, John Kearns proved that E. coli has a circular chromosome, a single origin of replication, and unwinding and replication are simultaneous. Bacteria such as E. coli have one chromosome, which is attached to the plasma membrane and not in a nucleus. The chromosome divides into two, producing two daughter chromosomes, with each chromosome attaching to different part of the membrane. The cell then pinches between the two areas until the cell wall splits, producing two daughter cells. This process is similar to what happens in the Earth's magnetosphere during the substorm. Put simply, magnetic reconnection in the Earth's magnetosphere activates a magnospheric process similar to binary fission in a bacteria. I'm going to read that one more time. Put simply, magnetic reconnection in the Earth's magnetosphere activates a magnospheric process similar to binary fission in bacteria. A substorm begins with a powerful solar eruption, sometimes impacting a massive earthquake. According to NASA, these storms can be recurrent every 27 days and related to the sun's rotation, or non-recurrent and caused by coronal mass ejections. Recall that interplanetary coronal mass ejections, ICMEs, have large magnetic fields that slowly rotate and cold ions. During southward IMF, the outermost sun would loops of the Earth's magnetic field are broken and swept into the magnetotail. Due to magnetic pressure in the magnetotail's lobes, the plasma sheets is pinched until a neutral point forms. Reconnection occurs within the neutral point, snapping magnetic field lines towards Earth and forcing a bubble of plasma or plasmoid out of the magnetotail on the other side. Whereas plasmoids consist of closed loops of magnetic field accelerated down the tail due to the magnetotail field tension, a flux rope contains bundles of field lines attached to the Earth that experience a slower tailward motion until all field lines are disconnected from Earth. Walker, Ogino, 1996. A bacterial chromosome dividing into two chromosomes mirrors the dynamics of flux rope passage rather than plasmoid transfer. Both a plasmoid and a flux rope are called FTEs because of data sparseness. A consensus understanding of substorm activity does not exist among space physicists. However, a broad consensus does exist that the magnetotail exhibits substorm behavior related to auroral expansions, magnetic field depolarization, current wedge formation, dispersion-less particle injections, bursty bulk flows, and current disruption. That's NASA in 2001. Thus, one can understand the confusion between designations such as plasmoids, flux ropes, and other flux transfers events that are similar but different. Recall the space physicists reported the first in situ detection of equators and Equator S and geotail spacecrafts of oppositely directed jets of plasma coming from a magnetic reconnection site at the Earth's dayside magnetopause. This observational confirmation of bidirectional jets southward under southward IMF is evidence for reconnection theory. Van in 2001. These jets of plasma form the same topology at the bursty or impulsive reconnection site in the cusp, where energy transfer is